Greetings, brethren, it is once again I, the Donkey, back with Donkey vs. Beer, and we are still on our road trip. We started up in Flensburg in Germany, and now we're driving into Denmark, where the Vikings live. And along the road we come past the town of Faxe, where they sell the beer, Faxe. Faxe. That's what it's called. YouTube, that is what the beer is called. It is literally called Faxe. God damn it, YouTube. Oh, that's okay. I can besmirch the name of Jiminy Cricket, but I can't say Faxe. I hate you people. Anyway, we're drinking Faxe, I guess, but that's not what it's called. It's called Faxe. So yeah, Denmark is their beer identity as a country, I feel at least, as a German, because that's kind of what we get from them, is strong beers. They like their strong, high percentage alcohol beers. Faxe as well is sold in these 1 liter cans, much like Tuborg as well. And they do have, there's a strong beer version that's 10%. This is not that, because I'm not going to drink a liter of 10% beer while I'm on a diet. Are you insane? I would immediately die. So, yeah, we're just going to have the regular premium lager, which is only 5%, and we'll be happy with that. Also, this is a cool little special edition can. If you can see it, oh. If you can see it, there's like Norse mythology stuff on there. There's Thor drinking from the massive drinking horn, which I feel is on theme with this massive can of beer. And of course, where we have a massive can of beer, we also have a massive mug. This is a good old Munich Bavarian 1 liter Maßkrug. So we're gonna have some in that, which I'm sure the Bavarians will consider heresy. But you know what? I'm not a Bavarian, so I don't really give a shit. So, Danish beer. I will say I don't have the greatest opinion of Danish beer. Well, let's talk about it when we actually have a drink of this. It pours fine, I would say. You do get a pretty decent head, but that's also because, you know, it's a massive jug. I mean, look at how much beer that is. Let's empty the can. All right, there we go. 1 liter of beer. Compared to my head, which by the way is massive. I have a massive head, so this this should scare you. It's a big mug of beer. Also, there's some dirt floating in it. That's perfect. Yeah, for the Americans among you who do not use the metric system or liters, I will say that this is about a quart of beer. So about, you know, a quarter gallon is what this is. And yeah, let's have a taste, shall we? Yeah, it's not exactly my kind of taste, but you know what? I actually have this. I actually remember this being much worse. So now that I've, this was probably one of the first beers I drank because, well, I was 16 and I mean, just look at the branding, right? There's a Viking on it. And I don't know, it's a massive can. Obviously this appeals to a teenage metalhead, right? Even when it doesn't have the Norse mythology collector's edition thing. So yeah, one of the first beers I had, but then back then obviously the other comparisons that I had were all German, and they are all better, in my opinion at least the lagers. Are, in my opinion, better than this as a lager. But, saying that, Now I have tried a lot more beers from a lot more different countries. This isn't actually that bad. It's it's a lot less offensive than, for example, all of the because I can tell right away. I don't even have to look at it, but yep, uh, this does not contain any sugar or any other added garbage. This is a very much just a pure beer: water, hops, malts, yeast, obviously. Has this been brewed? Because I'm not entirely sure. Doesn't say anywhere, because sometimes these Nordic beers, you know, from Scandinavia, they do get sort of licensed out and then they're brewed by the German purity law, while when they sell them in Scandinavia, they're not always brewed that way. So I'm not sure. It doesn't say on the can. I think on the Tuborg cans it actually does say that. So I'll assume that this wasn't exactly by the purity law, but it doesn't contain any garbage, so I'm fine with it. So let's talk about this. It is a lot more savory than it is bitter. So I wouldn't really call, you can't really, I don't think you can compare this to a Pilsner. A Pilsner thrives entirely on the bitterness, right? It's all about the hop flavors and the bitter aroma that it gives. Whereas this is a lot more savory. It actually reminds me a lot more of the sort of it's very similar to the Landbier, the country beer that I had as the very first beer in the German Beer Week. Link is up there if you want to check that out. So there's some smokiness to it. It's a lot more just savory, not too bitter, and I would say this is also a lot more easy to drink than just a really hardcore Pilsner. A really hardcore Pilsner can be quite difficult to, you know, get down, because that bitterness, it just comes into effect and at some point just doesn't leave you alone anymore. Whereas this, it just kind of goes away after a little bit. So yeah, you want to keep, it's moreish. You want to keep going back to it, and I actually kind of enjoy that about it. Obviously, the 1 liter can is complete overkill and ridiculous, but it is their marketing thing up in Denmark, because there's several Danish beers that do this. But I don't really think it adds too much to it. This will be fine at any size. It's an alright beer for sure. It's yeah, it's plenty fizzy. I would actually call this I would probably call this a dark lager. You know, so like a dunkel, which isn't really a very popular type of beer. It does exist, but it is more regional, which is why I didn't include it in the German Beer Week, because I don't know, it's not as commonplace, at least from my perspective, as pale lager or pilsner, etc., etc. So yeah, but this kind of reminds me of a dark lager. Although color-wise, it isn't really that dark. It's sort of orangey, honey-colored. But yeah, I wouldn't really put it in that same category. But I will say this: taste-wise, it's actually really enjoyable. I am very surprised, because I do remember this. The thing with this beer is also that we used to make jokes about this because it's quite cheap for how much you get, right? It's not the cheapest beer you can buy, but for how much beer there's in the can, it is on the cheaper side. So it always got made fun of for being a cheap beer, a crappy beer, you know, a gimmick beer. But and so I will fully admit, I've not actually had this in probably 20 years. I think I had this when I was 16, 17, and then never had it again. So I'm actually quite surprised at how much I enjoy it. I think I might actually get this again. So that's an endorsement, right? That means it's gonna get above 5 points. Because yeah, it's actually kind of nice. I would really enjoy it more if they sold it in smaller cans, though. Because the problem with having 1 liter of beer is that by the end of it, it's going to be basically flat. And I just don't enjoy that very much with lagers. Lagers kind of need that carburation to be enjoyable. So that is definitely a downside to it. It would be nice if, I get the gimmick, but you know, it would be nice if there was just less of it, because then I could have just more of them instead of having one that's flat at the end. But I guess that's just a minor personal gripe. In the end, it's still a very tasty beer. Definitely, this is definitely a drinking beer. Now, if you want to get drunk, this is a good choice. So if you can get where you live, but yeah, I would definitely recommend you try this if you can get your hands on it. It's actually quite nice, and you know, drinking out of a giant mug does make you feel like a Viking. So. What would I give this? Okay, so it doesn't blow me away. It's not the best beer I've ever had. I would definitely get it again as a drinking beer. But I don't think it gets more than a... I think even a 6 is too generous, so I think I'm going to give it 5.5 out of 10. I think that's pretty fair. It is an above average beer for sure. I actually like it. Would get it again. Would drink it. Would encourage other people to drink it. So it does deserve a above average rating. My goodness, does this one make me burp? Yeah, but I don't think it quite deserves 6 points. Maybe somewhere between 5.5 and 6. But I'm not gonna go into that, you know, like 5.77 3/4. Let's not get stupid like that. We'll do 5.5. It definitely deserves that. It's fine beer, totally drinkable. Would absolutely recommend it, but not necessarily, you know, one that would ever reach the top 50 even. Still pretty good though. Certainly could see times when I'd be like, oh, you know what? Yeah, I'll have one of them. Yeah, so we shall continue on our road trip onward to other Danish places, and really just 2 more because they're the only ones I can get. Basically, these are the 3 Danish beers I can buy at the gas station. So that's what this road trip is. Listen, I never said it was a smart gimmick or, you know, anything other than just an excuse for me to work off a checklist of beers that I can get from the gas station, all right? We're honest here. That's what I'm doing, but I think it's still worth doing because, you know, they're nice beers. At least this one. I don't know about the other 2 ones because I'm pretty sure I've never actually had the other 2. So, we'll see. Yeah. Check it out again tomorrow. You'll see the next beer on the list, and yeah, we'll continue our road trip. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Please come back on another day for another beer. Hopefully tomorrow, so we can finish this damn road trip and go back home. Take care, guys.